What's good, y'all? What's good, y'all? This your boy, 13th Disciple, 13TH, a.k.a. the Young John the Baptist. You know what it is. Grab your Bible, grab your pad, grab your pen, grab your highlighter. We about to dive into this gospel, and you about to get this work. It's time for another episode of Disciple Me. Let go! Yo, who is it?
The shoe man.
The shoe
I got some
man.
shoes for you, bro.
Hey!
Gotta be the shoes.
What up, Pastor T?
What's up, bro?
Chillin', man,
How you
chillin'.
feeling, man?
Glad you can make it.
What you got, bro? Let's see.
Let's see. Nothing. Your shot. What you want? You want stripes or what you got?
Man, I'm gonna go with solids. Man.
Solids, all right.
You gotta get that green one.
You gotta call it though.
That green 6 right there. Boom.
For sure.
Right.
So Pastor T, you know what I'm saying? This Urban D name you came up with, where'd that come from, bro?
Man, so the D stands for disciple. And I knew that I was gonna be a disciple for Jesus, but in the urban context. And then a lot of people just started calling me Urban D. And then a lot of people would ask, what's the disciple? What does that mean? Is that like a gangster disciple? So eventually I was just like, I shortened it to Urban D.
Right.
But then it would always bring up good questions as well. Like, what's the D for? Oh, it's a disciple. I'm a disciple of Jesus in the urban context.
Facts. That's fire.
Yeah.
That's fire. It's got a little twist to it, you know what I'm saying? A little bit of flavor.
Yeah.
That's what's up. What we got?
Okay, I'm gonna get the one in that side pocket right there. Maybe.
Ah! Nope. My turn. So you from Philly, man. So how'd you wind up over here in Tampa, man? That's a far away, you know what I'm saying, away from Philly.
It is, bro. I would have never dreamt or imagined I would end up in Florida. But I ended up going to college over in Lakeland at Southeastern University. And so as a result of that, man, like I met my wife there. She's from New York City.
Okay.
So we both were like, man, we're definitely going back up north. Florida is like nice weather, but Lakeland, Florida, back in the 90s.
Right.
It was like culture shock. So anyways, man, God didn't open up any doors up north.
Right.
But he opened up a door at this little church that had just started in Tampa called Crossover. And we stepped out in faith. We prayed about it. We felt like, all right, well, you know, it's definitely a lot better than Lakeland, and it's diverse, and you know, it's got a little bit of flavor. It's smaller, it's slower than up north, but we came and man fell in love with the city, with the people, and we watched this city grow like crazy over the past couple decades, man.
That's what's up. That's what's up. So as far as you growing up, you know what I'm saying, being a PK kid, how was that? You know what I'm saying? Did you feel any pressure to be an angel, to be perfect, you know what I mean, growing up being PK?
Yeah, there was definitely times where I definitely felt a lot of pressure, bro, as being the pastor's kid because, people would always be watching me. I was in a smaller church, man.
Right.
So people were always watching the pastor's kid, and they expected me to behave better than all the other kids.
Right.
But it was usually the opposite way. I was usually the leader of the troublemakers. You know what I'm saying? But I was trying to hide it, and I knew how to kind of act. But yeah, I definitely felt that pressure. And as a teenager, man, I kind of strayed away from God for a season, an older teenager. And I believed in God, but I just wanted to taste what the streets had.
Facts.
And as I began to, I soon quickly realized after a couple of years of that, like, man, the streets ain't got nothing for me. Like, everything they told me,
I
had to admit they were right.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to admit it for a while. Like, nah, there's got to be another party. There's got to be a better club. There's got to be a better girl. There's got to be a better group of friends that will really bring me what I'm looking for.
Right.
And soon I found, man, that lifestyle was empty, bro.
Got you.
Yeah.
That's what's up, man.
Hey, yo, that might be the pizza, man. I'm hungry, man.
For sure. Yo, it's Darrell. What up, my G?
Man, I'm good, man.
Good to see you, my G.
sir.
What you got for us today?
So what we got today?
Yes!
This place right here.
That's what I'm talking about, bro.
Marinara ricotta meatball.
That's good, man. So where you work at, bro?
So I'm right down here at Eddie the Sam, 203 East 3rd Street.
Good stuff, man. Y'all know what time it is. It's time to break bread. It's right, man. That lasagna.
Got that flavor, bro.
Yeah, avocado. What's up, man?
All right, man. So I'm still going here. I'm
Yeah,
still going.
you didn't scratch. You didn't scratch.
Scratch. It was close, man. It was close there. So, all right.
So you just celebrate your 28th year, I believe. You know what I'm saying? A marriage. That's
I did,
That's
man.
amazing, man.
28 years, bro. And
Wow.
we went away last weekend. We had a great time. Went to St. Augustine. And yeah, so I'll tell you about marriage, bro. Couple key things.
Facts.
People
Give us some
ask-
tips. Give us some tips.
Yeah, like how do you stay married that long and still, like, I love my wife. Oh, good shot.
Appreciate
And like
you. Appreciate you.
we're happy. We're still in love, and it's a beautiful thing, y'all. And so I think a couple key things is, man, marriage, it's not what you see on TV shows. It's not what you see in the movies. It's not what you see.
Scratched.
Bottom line, man, is you gotta be intentional. It's work. It's
Right.
absolutely work. Of course, you gotta keep God in the center of it.
Right.
You gotta pray together. You gotta communicate. Communication is so key because your wife doesn't know what you're thinking.
Right.
You know, and you don't know what she's thinking. We already know that, right?
Right.
Women are mysterious, bro.
Facts.
So you definitely have to regularly communicate, and then it's sacrifice. There's gonna be seasons where you sacrifice things for your wife's dreams and for the things she's going after. Like when my wife went to get her master's degree,
Right.
there was some things we had to shift around financially and with our schedule and some things like that. And then there's other seasons where I'm working on an album and I'm in the studio late at night and I'm having to put some of my own money towards things, and we're
Right.
investing, betting the bag on ourselves. And so we had to hold back on some things because she's like, all right, I'm trusting you.
Right.
You know, and so it took time to also build up the trust in each other.
Right.
And the other big thing is, like, we're doing this together.
Amen.
We don't have two separate bank accounts.
Amen.
The two shall
Become one.
That means
Say
the bank
that
account
again,
as
y'all.
well.
The two shall become one. That was one of the
Absolutely.
hardest things for me, man. We went to marriage counseling.
bro.
You know what I'm saying? Before I actually got married, I was like, "What you mean? I gotta what?" You know what I'm saying? So what's mine is mine. You know what I mean? But when you get married, it really is, you know, a joint thing. You know what I mean?
And that's one of the biggest things, bro, in marriage counseling, as I've counseled a lot. Me and my wife have counseled a lot of couples. A lot of the things they're fighting over, bro, is money.
Right.
And like, yo, my wife owes me money. I let her
Right.
borrow some money.
She owes you money?
She borrowed money, and I'm like, it's all the same.
Right.
Like, oh, these are my bills. These are her bills.
Right.
So yeah, that's where you get in trouble. The two gotta absolutely be one. You're on the same team, y'all.
Nah, but real talk, you know what I'm saying? That's some good wisdom that, you know what I'm saying, you just shared with a lot of people out there, because a lot of people can't stay together, you know, 28 minutes.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And the
28
reality is, when I talk to people right now, it's like, if you ain't making 100K, these females don't want to be with you.
Nah.
You know what I'm saying? And then it's this misconception where these men, they look at these women on TikTok and they're like, if she don't got this, that, I don't want her, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And my wife really had to teach me about intimacy, because, you know what I'm saying, like, I was a virgin all the way to 17, then I started smashing, just wilding out, and then I got saved at 19, and now I'm celibate for, like, get this, y'all, 4.5 years, y'all.
Woo!
4.5 years holding it down. And the crazy thing was, when I got my wife, I'm like, yeah, let's go, you know what I'm saying?
I'm married now.
Yeah, you
It's
know what I mean?
legal.
My
It's
wife
not
like,
sin.
wife's like, let's hold hands. I just want to cuddle. What? Like, I'm like, what is this? And so I really had to learn about intimacy and really learning, you know what I'm saying, about, it's not about fulfilling my needs, but serving her. And I think the culture really has us really twisted.
Yeah.
And my wife really had to, you know, help me get like this ball, like unwinded, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And unraveled to where I could start to think like Christ, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And realizing she's my church and how I can lay down my life for her and how I can serve her. So if you're out there right now, you know what I mean? And you're out there and you think you're gonna get married and everything's just gonna be buck wild, like what you saw in them porn videos, you might, you might be a little bit disappointed. She might come home from work and might be tired, yo, you know what I'm saying? Like, so really learn how to serve, you know what I'm saying, your wife, and really learn how to minister to her and not expect her to minister and pour into you, but be there to serve her. It's about serving each other.
That's good, bro.
Amen.
Yeah, man. Porn
Amen.
creates such unrealistic expectations. And so if you're watching that all the time, if you're a guy or a female, it's going to set you up for like false realities, man.
It really does. It
It's
really
gonna mess
does.
up your intimacy and your brain. It literally rewires your brain. The good
Right.
news is, though, God made our brains in a way that we can rewire our brains when we
Right.
start to think the right kind of thoughts over a period of time.
Right. So let's talk accountability real quick. I tell people all the time, I think it's your shot. I talk accountability all the time. And one thing I talk about accountability is that the devil loses power when you keep things in the light. I'm gonna say it again. The devil loses power
That's good.
when you keep everything in the light. He loves to work in darkness. It's kind of like roaches. Like you ever seen, like you
they
turn the light
scatter.
on, they start scattering, you know what I'm saying? Like the enemy works well in darkness.
Yeah.
But as soon as we keep things in the light,
Yeah.
it's like he has no power. And so, I counsel a lot of young men, we pour into them. And that's one of the biggest issues they deal with is sexual stuff like porn or whatnot, and trying to get off of TikTok and things like that. And one of the things I tell them is like, look, man, when it comes to porn and stuff, that stuff's not going away. Like you really have to get your fasting life up. You really have to take the time once a week, twice a week to get off of TikTok. If you need to, take off your TikTok for a month. Is it really worth your soul?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I try to help people out, you know what I'm saying? Because I've been looking at porn since I was 10. And you know what I'm saying? And God had to break that stuff off of me. And when I exposed it to my wife, and I talked to you before as well, and I exposed it to my wife and said, hey, I'm struggling. You know what I'm saying? Because when my wife, she was pregnant, and she went through that period where she lost the baby or whatnot. And so she was going through her transition and depression and things like that. Had to work through that with her. And I'm over here, I'm still a man, I got needs. And so I'm struggling in that area, but there was so much freedom when I told my wife, yo, I'm struggling right now. Like, I don't want to do this. I'm struggling, but I don't know how to navigate being a man and trying to navigate, like, I can't cheat. Like, I'm not going that route. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not losing my marriage, you know what I'm saying? But I'm like, I got needs, you know what I'm saying? And I told her, and when I came out in the light, bro, it was so much freedom, man. And so right now you might be watching this and you might be in a situation to where you're living in darkness because you think somebody's gonna judge you. You think somebody's gonna look at you a crazy. Nah, man, every dude I know, bro, 99, if you've never looked at porn, like straight up, like I'm super shocked. But the reality is, when I talked to her about it and brought it to light, oh man, the freedom I felt. You know what I'm saying? The freedom I felt. And now I can be able to talk to her about anything, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I think a lot of times, Pastor Tommy, people are just not authentic. They're not real. And when we talk about accountability, you know what I'm saying? Express to us, what's the importance of accountability and discipleship, you think?
Yeah, I say one big thing about accountability is it only works if you tell the truth.
Facts.
Because I know a lot of people that had accountability partners and they still fell and they still did crazy stuff. Why? Because they weren't honest with their accountability partner. When they would have their check-in points, when they'd have conversations, they would just cover up and not tell the truth. So accountability is only accountability if you're truly accountable. You gotta find,
that's a bar.
First of all, you gotta find somebody to be accountable with that you trust and you respect and all those things. Definitely a godly person. You don't want to be accountable with someone who's not even really following God, because they're gonna give you permission to, oh, you ain't doing that bad. Oh, that ain't nothing. But you gotta have that time when you are regularly having conversations with that person and give that person permission to ask you tough questions. And then at the same time, when they check you, don't get defensive. That's what you asked for. That's what they're there for, because they care about you. And so that's the other thing. There's been people that have asked me to hold them accountable, and then when I do, then they're like, "Oh, you judging me?" Like, you asked
for it.
Like, check up on you, and like if I see anything to point it out. And I'm seeing some things I have questions about, bro, because I care about you. And so I think that's the other part. Give permission, but then when you get checked, like, don't get defensive. Because that's our natural human instinct, is to get defensive and try to cover up or try to but man, like, learn to be real with that other person. It's only going to help you be better in the end. And I got some people in my life that will regularly check on me, ask me about my marriage, my kids, my thought life, all those things.
Right.
And I'm going to be honest with them. And sometimes I'm doing great. And then there's other times I'm like, man, I've been struggling with this or this is something that has been a weight on my shoulders, And it's different things in different seasons. My wife is not, in the postpartum or just had a baby. I remember those times. So we're not dealing with those things now. But, in this season, there's other things with ministry and pressures and all kinds of things. Our daughters are becoming young adults now. We're trying to help them navigate all of that,
The real world.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So it's, but you always got to have accountability partners in your life. It's super important.
That's good stuff, man. That's good stuff. So when we talk about accountability, who do you think, has been in your life that has been a person that has really helped you on your walk as far as holding you accountable and really not just looking and checking the artist, but caring about the man and the man's soul?
Yeah, one of those guys has been one of my mentors. His name is Larry Acosta, and he was the guy that founded Urban Youth Workers Institute.
Okay.
And I've just learned so much from him, man, from his marriage, from the way he loves his kids, the way he stewarded his ministry, the way he even stewarded finances and connections and relationships. And he was always very open-handed.
Gotcha.
And
Your shot too.
Always very honest about some of his struggles, because he grew up not having a dad.
Right.
And so he had some father wounds and needed affirmation and wrestled with different things.
Right.
He had his father in his life a little bit, but his dad never told him he loved him. His dad never was really there for him. His dad didn't, show his mom love. And so he didn't have a good example of that. And that left a deficit. And so he worked really hard to make sure he was going to be a different kind of dad.
Right.
And so he's been in my life, man. He's been a spiritual father, a big brother to me in so many ways, man, and helped me navigate and think through a lot of things and influenced me in a lot of great ways, man.
Hey, I got a ball in. Let's go. That's good stuff, man. That's good stuff. So in regards to urban ministry and things like that, you're the first church that I saw that I could look at and be like, you know what? Wow, it's okay to authentically be myself and be urban, hip hop, prophetic and be able to do things differently. Who are some of the ministries that you saw that you were like, you know what? I could take a little bit of that, I could take a little bit of that? Or was it just like you had this whole idea yourself and you're like, this is the direction I want to go?
Yeah, to be honest with you, man, there wasn't anybody doing it exactly like we were envisioning or wanted to do it. There wasn't really a blueprint. Thank you, sir. There wasn't really a blueprint for it. And so yeah, we did get inspired by some other ministries, by their creativity. There was a church up in Indiana called Granger Community Church that was very creative. They had a conference that they did, and we won the Innovative Church of the Year award. This was back in 2004.
Right.
And man, but they did things really creatively with drama and video and art. And we had never seen a church do that before. We went to Saddleback to Rick Warren's church and learned a lot of great structure and biblical principles and how the church needs to be purpose-driven and how we can structure a membership class and we learned a ton from them. But at that point in time, their ministry was not very creative. That's not what they were known for, right? And so they were so different than we were. They were in a white suburban Orange County, wealthy context, and we're here in a multi-ethnic urban environment, lower income, not upper income at the time. And so we learned stuff from them, but then as we learned from that other church, the creativity piece, and then we were able to kind of put it together. And we always say our church, come experience church remix.
Right.
We take what so many other people do and we literally just, we remix it. So
got you. Almost. Yeah, that's definitely what's up. I've had the opportunity, the pleasure in being able to see, over the years what God has used you and your wife and the staff to be able to do. It's been pretty amazing, man. Pretty amazing.
Thank you, bro. Thank you,
so as we wrap up everything, with the interview here, I want to ask a few questions. I want to ask, number one, in places and times and periods of your life and seasons of your life where you felt discouraged about your walk with God and where you were, and you still had to get up every Sunday and minister. You were going through life, you were going through family things, you were going through trials and tribulations, but you had to get up every Sunday and minister. How did you find the strength to do that every Sunday when you were going through your own things as a human being?
Yeah, man, it definitely can be challenging at times. I think earlier back when I was younger, earlier in the ministry, there was definitely some times when, there's some tough things that we went through, like when my wife lost a baby.
Right.
And that was on a Saturday night.
And you had to preach the next day?
Actually, a Sunday morning. I was at the hospital till 4:30 in the morning, and I had to get up and preach the next day.
Wow.
But watch this, man. I walked into the parking lot that day, and the founding pastor popped up. And I'm like, he lived in Atlanta, and he had moved to Atlanta. And I'm like, what are you doing here, Pastor Joe? And he's like, oh, man, I was supposed to be preaching at another church, and it got canceled, man, last night. So I'm just coming to church here, man, to come see you. And yeah, I'm like, you're here to preach, bro. He's like, no, I'm not, man. I'm here to listen to you preach.
Wow.
And I just went to him, I hugged him, and I said, bro, my wife lost a baby 6 hours ago.
Wow.
So he just grabbed me. It's like, I got you. I'm preaching. Right? And so I watched God at certain moments step in the mix and just provide and take care. There's been other times where I had some crazy stuff on my shoulders and I still just had to preach. I had to lead.
Right.
Sometimes as a pastor, as a leader, you got to carry some things, and God will give you the strength to carry that. And then behind certain closed doors to the right people, then you can vent it, or you can talk
be
about
authentic
it, you can
and
let it
real
out,
with.
right?
Yeah.
But you can't do that with everybody. You can't bleed down.
Right.
You have to bleed across.
Can you say that again real quick? Say it again real quick. That was a very powerful point.
Yeah. Sometimes as leaders, we're leading as we're bleeding. And you can't bleed down to the people that are under you. You need to bleed across to the people that are your peers, or especially to the people that are above you.
Wow, that's key. That's key. Yeah. That's key. Because the people may not be spiritually there.
They might not be ready to hear that.
Yeah,
and they're going to maybe look at you differently and not understand it and take it out of context and all kinds of stuff, right?
Right.
So they can't carry all that.
Right.
So you need to do that with people that are your peers, or with people that are above you. And you always, if you're in a ministry situation, you always need to have some people from outside of the ministry situation that you can go and get advice and talk to and bounce things off of, not just always internally. You need to have some outside, influence and voices as well.
Got you.
Yeah.
Now, there's a pastor right now, or church out there that went through the pandemic and so many churches closed down, and your church was thriving. So tell us a little bit about some strategies or things you guys did, or some things you put in place to be able to keep the church going as we transition through COVID.
Yeah, man. So we leveraged a couple of things. One thing is we leveraged technology. We were, streaming online, of course, and doing a lot of really creative stuff online, and with social media and with Zoom and with all kinds of things to keep people engaged. And we actually grew with our audience that we had online. When we came back in person, of course, not everybody came back right away. It was still a little bit of a funky time, and everybody was trying to figure out what was going on and what their health situation was as well. There we go. So, we leveraged technology, and then we also, did a lot of extra outreach stuff. And then we put some new systems in place. And so we said, what are people's needs right now? And we really tried to meet those needs, whether that was tangible needs with food. We did a grocery drive-through in our parking lot for 14 months with Feeding Tampa Bay. We were usually feeding about 700-800 families every week. So that was amazing. But at the same time, we helped people with counseling and, the different topics that we were preaching and teaching on and talking about with mental health and different things that people were really wrestling with. And then we just stepped up our game and our systems on follow-up and on follow-up with new people, follow with people that haven't been around, follow up with people that are going through stuff. and just putting systems in place that really made people feel like they were a part of things. And so now, you know, by the fall of 2022, we caught up to our pre-pandemic attendance and started to pass it. 2023, we were even bigger than we were before the pandemic, and now, you know, beyond that, we're continuing to grow even more. It's been amazing.
That's awesome. So how can you encourage the pastor right now that feels discouraged because the church, it lost a lot of members, people that not wanting to come back? How can you encourage people out there right now where their ministry is not really thriving anymore after the pandemic? How can you encourage them with that?
Yeah, I want to tell you that it's not impossible to see growth again and for things to come back to life, but you got to do things differently. It's not 2019 anymore. It's a different world. And so there's some different things that you got to begin to put in place. And so I would say pray, because that's going to look different in every context and every ministry, what that's going to look like. But the bottom line is, man, people are hurting in our culture right now. People are hungry. They're open to the gospel, even if, you know, they're open to spirituality.
Right.
And they, you know, like you said,
the trees.
We were talking about that conversation.
The grass.
And yeah, man, so if we can show them the right thing that they're looking for, because, you know, we have this hole inside of us that's made for our Creator, and we try to fill it with other stuff. Right. But we soon find those things don't work until we find the real Creator, right? Right. So we got to point them to the gospel. And so people are hungry right now. We've seen it, you know, so like, man, there's no shortage of the harvest. Harvest is plentiful.
That's what's up.
The harvest is ripe right now. We just got to pray that for creative ways to reach people and workers to help us do that.
That's what's up. That's what's up. All right, y'all. We'll be right back with more talk with Pastor Tommy Urban D. Colonen. But right now, we about to jump into the mix with DJ Serve One. Let's go.
In it for the long haul flight, committed. Wanted me to fail out of spite, I didn't. All bark, but they don't bite, they timid. Thinking that it happened overnight, but it didn't. In it for the long haul flight, I'm committed. Wanted me to fail out of spite, but I didn't. All bark, but they don't bite, cause they timid. Look, wait.
I give him the daily reminder, keep climbing, cuz boy got faith from the islands. Out of Miami, but move mountains.